Hello MGTOW, hello men, this is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. I want to talk about playing the victim, because we have professional victim players. And I've spoken about this topic many times before, welfare class versus productive class. Pretty much all of my end of civilization videos are talking about this idea that we've got this class of people, a grievance class of people, like 80% of the world's population, that are upset and feel that this other 20% of the world's population have done them wrong. And that the reason why their lives are so miserable are because those 20% exploited them, or took advantage of them, or disadvantaged them, or victimized them. And that's their outlook on life in general. You know, it's a wonder that these people can even get up and go to the bathroom for themselves. And eventually, they're not able to. Eventually, they just keep getting sicker and sicker and weaker and looking for more and more people to blame, and they just keep getting fatter and less capable of dealing with their situation until they just become these big, fat, unhealthy cripples sitting around waiting for welfare checks and waiting for free handouts. So when you say to them things like, hey, you're responsible for your own health and for the condition of your own life, they start pitching a fit. They're like, how dare you? You're a racist. You're a bigot. You're an evil person. And then they start looking around in the group. It's like, who's with me? And the world is being destroyed. Western nations are just trying to bring in and import, millions upon millions of low IQ, non-working people who want a free ride. So how are you going to become a strong, independent person that can say no to government power when you are surrounded by every woman in your life screaming and crying, all the children in your life essentially screaming and crying because they've been trained by the women, every disadvantaged man who is just looking for an excuse in life, screaming and crying. Professional victims, their whole lives. The corporate government system is set up to take advantage of these people. It's exactly what they want. Because they're weak, you can manipulate them, you can control them, they'll do what you want. You give them free little handouts, you give them little free samples of, the good stuff. And they're like constantly coming back for more. And they never learn to stand on their own 2 feet. And that's why, I don't know the exact numbers, but that's why the vast majority of wealth in the world is controlled by, the smallest population of people in the world. Even if you are a victim, it doesn't do you any good to look at it from that point of view. Even if you're born with some huge physical disadvantage, it doesn't help you to bemoan your state, to get others to feel sorry for you. You have to overcome your state and not feel sorry for yourself, even if you're in a situation where, you could easily say, and a lot of people would agree, oh, that poor person. Well, if you adopt that attitude, it's going to be hard to improve yourself and to get any better, to be an adult. And that's what it is. These people are eternal children. And you can even see it just by looking at them, by their fat little chubby cheeks, by their soft layers of baby fat, by their neotenous features, by how quickly they just start to giggle over, just the silliest, stupidest things. Very childlike behavior. And it's from full-grown men. Lots of vanity. Now, I'm not suggesting, I believe in a healthy ego. I don't believe in, completely destroying the ego. I don't. I think that that's a bit of a trap that has been laid for men to break them down. Not to build them up, but to break them down and to keep them broken down. Now, if a man can really go through that, oh, hell yes. He can rebuild himself to something really great. But it's not designed to do that to the man. It's designed to just keep ripping him down until he never gets up again. So take heart in that idea. You're in a world with 80% of the people who want to knock you down. Don't get angry. You know what I mean? This isn't about getting angry. You're in a world where women don't love you. Don't get upset. Don't get angry. But stop lying to yourself. Stop expecting, some wealthy, pampered woman to hold the door open for you in life. Because that's really what it is, isn't it? So it's really great. I'm getting a lot more subscribers, and I really appreciate it. Welcome to all you guys. Thank you. And I really appreciate the comments. It's like, lots of activity is going on and stuff like that. I'm not really able to respond to all of them individually. I can't really entertain some of the thoughts. Some of them are these really great, well thought out comments, and, it's like, wow, I don't even have time to actually, really give this the full thought and consideration that it deserves. So I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of like approach this situation, but I'm really glad for all the new subscribers. And, as I said, I'm thinking about doing a video where I kind of like talk about the various categories of the topics, because I've got the male MGTOW concepts, which I really appreciate it. You guys are my MGTOW brothers. Please keep them coming, because nobody's a perfect MGTOW, and nobody is like 100% pure MGTOW. I went through over 40 years of negative conditioning in a society that taught me to worship women, and I went along with it. And at first, realizing this, of course I was filled with hate and filled with anger, but now it's less, and I'm able to say, look, this is the way the situation is. This is the way I looked at it. This is what happened. Now I need to look at it differently. And it's not about being upset. It's about dealing with the situation the way it is. I mean, if you think you need a bit of 6 foot of pipe, okay, and you go and you cut 6 foot of pipe, and then you find out, no, you needed 6.5 foot of pipe. Okay, I understand you're upset. You made a mistake. Things didn't turn out. Maybe it's a difficult situation. But what are you going to do? Are you going to stand there and throw your tools around and scream and cry? And even if you do that, how long are you going to do that? Aren't you eventually going to say, all right, I made a mistake, I mismeasured, I didn't see something, or I had the wrong information, or I just made a mistake. I'm going to recheck it and I'm going to redo it. How long before you get to that stage? So that's what I'm suggesting. Get to that second stage where you're no longer mad that the situation isn't what you wanted it to be, but you're kind of like a little more just upset with yourself for not recognizing it sooner and not adapting to it sooner. So 80% of the world wants a free handout, wants a free ride, and they're sticking their hands out to the other 20%. And that's mostly Western European men. But it includes, other men from other cultures and races and things like that. Definitely. And it even includes some hardworking, honest, women as well. And it may have always been this way too. It may have always been that, just this smaller percentage of people were really pushing society and the human condition forward. And that the majority were always acting as like a damper and a set of brakes on it. Luckily in the comment section, I have 80% intelligent, hardworking, independent comments of strong men who want to help themselves. And that's who I'm talking to. That's what my message is for. And I've got like, a fewer percentage of people that are, like 20% that are just like, isn't it great to be a strong, productive man? Even if you're not, in a good position, because, at least you can turn it around. That as the situation changes, you'll be able to take advantage of it, as opposed to just being, some victim that needs to point out how others did them wrong and how therefore they owe you stuff. There's a lot of stuff that as I've gotten older, I won't even respond to it. I mean, this kind of chicken shit male behavior, I'm sorry to call it that. But, you've heard the expression, nobody owes you a living. And I heard it too. And I thought that it meant something a little different from what it really means and what it really meant. I thought that people were saying to me, hey, you're being a baby. You need to be an adult and be mature. Nobody owes you a living. And on some level, they were saying that is what they were saying to me. But there's this really important hidden truth within the idea that nobody owes you a living. And I think it's that if you believe that somebody owes you a living, that you're going to focus on that, and you're not going to make you're not going to make a living for yourself. You're going to be like, oh, they should do this for me. I'm not going to do it for myself. And it's disgusting for a man to wake up with the thought in his mind. I mean, come on. That somebody's going to bring you your food? That someone's going to bring you your stuff and clean it up for you? That's not a man. That's a child, and it doesn't even matter if they actually owe it to you. As a matter of fact, you should just get up and take care of yourself. And if you can have that attitude, if you can stop expecting a free handout, if you can stop feeling sorry for yourself, if you can take responsibility for your own feelings, for your own emotions, there is great power in that. And I mean real power. Nobody owes you anything. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. You have to build your own future. You have to secure what you need in this world. Let's go back to the caveman days. You're standing in a field. I don't care. You're a 5-foot woman. You're a 30-foot man. I don't care. It doesn't matter, okay? And you see a piece of food, a piece of fruit, and it's a few feet in front of you. And another person sees that piece of fruit, and it's a few feet in front of them. Do they owe you that piece of fruit? Does the world owe you that piece of fruit? Based on what happened yesterday, is there any consideration towards you getting that piece of fruit? No. The only thing that's going to determine whether or not you get that piece of fruit is whether or not you get up, move, and pick up that piece of fruit. Feeling sorry for yourself, playing the victim, man, it's a psychological sickness in some cases. And in the other case, it's just a rotten little childish manipulation. What does Anita Sarkeesian do for a living? She finds fault with other people and then talks about it. She really needs to build her own games. You know what I mean? The woman really needs to open up a software engineering place and just start putting out games that she thinks would be good for women. And if she did that, imagine, now I'm kind of like going into a thought experiment, but if she did that, imagine she could get up every morning and she could say, I'm building this game, for this type of a girl to have this type of an attitude. And she could be really positive about it. But instead, she's going to get up and she's going to say, I want to make everybody else in the world change, these thousands of games, right? So she's got this kind of like larger vision of it, right? Maybe that's what keeps her going. I'm going to make them change more games than I could ever create, and I'm going to have my impact there. But understand, she's not having a positive impact on the world. She's telling herself that she's stopping this negative impact on the world. And is what she's trying to stop a negative impact on the world? Whenever the feminist gets up and says she's going to go out and do things to build up women, is she stopping a negative effect on the world? Or is she playing a victim, accusing other people preemptively of moral crimes, trying to gain sympathy, and then trying to gain advantage and a free ride, which ends up crippling other women? Or is she doing that? And I say that she's doing the latter. And I say that the people who are playing the victim and think that governments or people or nations or situations owe them a free living, okay? I think they're just people looking for a free ride that are crippling themselves. And they think it's smart. And they're setting this example. And as I said, I think it's about 80% of people in the world. And I think that remaining 20%, it's not just men, it's not just European men, and but it's mostly those people with those values and those ideals. And when women and feminists and other people are attacking those men, they're attacking Western civilization itself. And if you destroy those men, and that's exactly what you're doing, you destroy Western civilization so that it can never rebuild itself. 80% of the people are acting like a bunch of greedy little children, and they're destroying everything around us. And I don't know that it can be fixed, and I don't know that it can be repaired, but I do know that if a person is strong, independent, and truthful, that they can go their own way, they can build their own life, they can defend themselves like a fucking castle, with a moat and a drawbridge, everything. They can protect themselves in this life to a large degree, not 100%. You can do everything good and everything right, and as, Captain Picard tells Data, you can still lose. And you can be a good person and do everything right and never try to screw anybody over and always just try to take care of yourself and help the people around you, and the world and rotten people in it can still and will still come after you to take you down. And they will. It's possible is what I'm saying. Not that they definitely will, but they'll still try to, and it's still possible. It's not fair, and it doesn't make any sense. And you should try to do the right thing that's good because it's the right thing and it's good, and because you're trying, because you're motivated by those things. And at the same time, the other people in the world can cheat like hell, and they can take advantage of your nobility, of your naivety. And yet I would still recommend holding on to the moral high ground, because that's like one of the 5 things that Sun Tzu suggests you're going to need to win a battle. So do what's right, but don't think that other people will. Know that they will cheat, so be prepared for it. You're in a system where 80% of the people around you are just looking for a free ride. They think it's the smart and easy way to go. And in the natural world, it might have been. You know what I mean? It's an instinct to do as little work as possible for as much gain as possible. And in a situation with few resources and a lot of danger, it's probably the best way to go. But in a modern situation, if you do that, you'll become a fat cripple, and you'll expect other men to take care of you. Why on earth would someone want to migrate to a place because they're going to take care of him? What kind of a man is that? What kind of a human being is that? It's like, hey buddy, here, you can earn a living for yourself and take care of yourself and build up your own situation, or you can come over here and you can mooch off of these other men. What's it going to be, buddy? What do you want to do, buddy? Shit, I don't even need to ask that question to you guys, because I know that 80% of you are going to say, I don't want your free handout. I'll take care of myself. I'm not going to be some, drug addict dependent on a free handout from somebody who's looking to control me. I'm a man. Or, I'm a human being. I know that's what 80% of you guys listening, people listening to this, are going to think and feel. And I know there's 20% of you that are going to say stuff like, 200 years ago, somebody came to a country and they hurt some people with the same skin color as me, so you owe me money. So all of a sudden you get a knock on your door, right? And there's some guy standing there. You don't even know him. And he's like, yeah, thousands of years ago, your ancestors did something wrong to my ancestors. You owe me $5,000. So you just shut the door on his face. And then the guy just goes to the next house and knocks on the door and says the same thing. Maybe somebody gives him some money. Maybe nobody gives him some money. And at the end of the day, he's like, those rotten people, they didn't pay me any money for those insults that were done to my ancestors. So I'm saying don't do that to yourself as a human being. Get up in the morning and say, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to do good things to, get ahead in this world. And it doesn't matter how hard it is or how difficult other people make it for me. And it doesn't matter what happened to me yesterday. I'm just going to do what I have to do. So that's the way I look at it. So let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Please join me again, Howard Dare, as I hope to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.